What's up guys, today I'm going to be doing a requested video of the Galaxy S21 Ultra versus the S22 Ultra. I get this request actually a lot, and I wanted to go ahead and do this and just answer a lot of the questions that I get here. So this is really for people who don't have either of the phones, or you have an S21 Ultra wanting to get an S22 Ultra because it won't be receiving, any more MageOS updates. But I would say, guys, that does not matter because One UI 8 is not going to be a significant upgrade anyway from what we're seeing with the beta. And then also the other stuff, like, yeah, I think the S22 Ultra, the camera might look a little bit better, but I'll show you guys it's not significant. And the most important thing here is like the processor. We're going to go over, you guys can see. So I actually don't like this upgrade. If you're thinking about getting an S21 Ultra and you live outside the country, you like the phone because it's inexpensive. The thing about it is both of these phones have an Exynos version that is worse than the actual Snapdragon versions, and the Snapdragon versions aren't even that good. So that's why I said, if you have an S21 Ultra, upgrading to the S22 is not, to me, it's not that great of an upgrade. So I want to go ahead and kind of explain it. It's an okay upgrade. That's pretty much how I would look at it. Design wise, I actually think the S21 is a lot more comfortable than the S22. It's not as squared off, and it's easier to hold because it's not as wide. I do like the camera design on both of these phones. Samsung got rid of that cutout, and yeah, the S22 still looks like the most recent Galaxy phones, and S24, S25 essentially. Yeah. The S21 Ultra does not have a built-in S Pen, but you do have S Pen capability. So you can buy the S Pen case with this phone. Of course, with the S22, you have your built-in S Pen here. You can do digital artwork, and it is Bluetooth, unlike the S25. So you can use it to record footage from a distance, or just use it to play, pause, skip songs and stuff like that. But hardware-wise, nothing too different going on. But I do think the S21 is noticeably, more comfortable for a bigger phone. They're both IP68 dust and water resistant as well. As far as the displays go, you have a dynamic AMOLED display on both of these phones, and they both have a 6.8-inch display. They're both 1440p displays, and they both pretty much have about the same PPI as well, around that 500 PPI range. Now, 120 Hz HDR10 Plus on both, and you have a slight difference with the max brightness. The S21 is 1500 nits, the S22 is 1750 nits, so it's slightly brighter. Again, because of the shape of the S21, it's a lot easier to navigate the phone and the screen. But I think the shape of the S22 Ultra's display, having a more boxier shape, just looks a lot better. It looks like the newer phones. But yeah, I really like the screens on both of these phones. I like that the S21 is a lot more comfortable, and also the curve is a lot more subtle on the S21. So they both have curved displays, but it's a bit of a more subtle curve on the S21. But besides that, I think the displays look really good on both. You get those nice, vibrant, really nice, colorful colors. And yeah, so I don't really have a big issue with the displays. The big difference is honestly the actual display design. It's just you have a more square, you have a more kind of rounded off look. As far as the processors go, it's not really a big difference here between the Snapdragon 888 and the 8 Gen 1. For example, if we pull up our Wildlife Extreme, you can see it's not a big deal. There's not a big difference in Geekbench as well. There's not really a big difference in the animations and how everything is working. The S21 is actually extremely smooth on One UI 7, and so is the S22. Both these phones, it just did a really good job. Samsung did a really good job with these older flagships because they are running very, very well when it comes to smoothness and opening up apps and being really consistent with animations. They're both doing a really good job. And I would say the gaming performance is not really that big of a difference. I think pretty much still get the same settings on games like PUBG and pretty much most games. So this is not a significant upgrade. If you're looking for a significant upgrade, When it comes to performance, I would say go for an S23 series phone. You'll be able to play PUBG at 120 frames. Looks like the S21 is, like, for some reason, like, low-key kind of faster than this S22 here. I'm not sure why. Okay. Yeah, it is. It does seem like it's like a little bit faster. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure why. So when it comes to gaming performance, both these phones still do a pretty good job. To me, they both kind of can get a little bit warmer than I would like, and I'm pretty sure the Exynos versions are worse. But they both play PUBG at 90 frames. But yeah, that's like the main issue a lot of people have with these phones, is that they can kind of heat up, and it really kind of, though these processors kind of hit the battery too. So it's like these phones, they do an okay job when it comes to battery life. I did my day in the life of these two phones as a lighter user, but as a heavier user, you'll notice like these phones can kind of heat up. You're running GPS all day and playing games all day. It can really run through the battery, etc., etc., right? So even though these phones are fine for some light gaming, like I said, I would go with, really save that money up and go with an S23 if you are trying to do some gaming, so you don't have to deal with the heating problems and the massive hit to the battery life. Got these speakers at max volume. So both the speakers sound, pretty decent. But my thing with these older Samsung flagships, especially for some reason like the S22 series, the bass is really like low, and you can kind of equalize it to get it to sound a little bit better. But I'm just telling you guys, like, straight out the box, it does have like a flat sound profile. Even the S21 has a little bit more bass to it. It's not that much, but it does sound a little bit fuller. But the overall sound quality, it is a nice balance sound, or not balance, but it is a nice, like, crisp sound to it. It doesn't sound bad. The speakers don't sound cheap. So both speakers, are pretty good, but I think the S21 Ultra has the fuller sound, basically. And they both also have your circuit of search, and they both actually have your Gemini, your updated Gemini. Now, this is where, I guess, if you were like really interested in the AI features, the AI features are here on the S22, so you can use them. We don't have any of the AI features besides the ones I just showed you. So we do have all these, the call assist and all that good stuff. We are missing a few, like audio eraser and stuff like that. So you don't have quite all of them, but a lot of the stuff that people would use, like the object eraser kind of AI thing, you do have this stuff here. So you have it. Do I think it's worth like upgrading? No, I personally don't use it, but you might find this useful. All right, so I did go ahead and take some pictures today, and the camera setup is kind of similar on both of these phones. So they both have a 108 megapixel standard. They both have a 10 megapixel telephoto with 3x optical. They both have a periscope telephoto 10 megapixel with 10 times optical, and they both have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. They both shoot in 8K 24, and they both have a 40 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. So pretty identical specs here. And check out the side-by-side video photos. Let me know what you guys think. Alright guys, so the battery performance on these two phones, again, is pretty similar because of how inefficient the processors are if you are a heavier user. Lighter user, I got through the day, you know, in Vegas at CES with both these phones easy, and I was taking videos and, you know, just doing stuff, web browsing, social media, stuff like that. Not a whole bunch of gaming, not a whole bunch of GPS. So you can get through the day, lighter users. Heavier users, no. You would have to get an S23, especially if you're getting these phones used. They're going to have a little bit of battery degrade. You can always, you know, just swap out the battery. But, yeah, 5,000 milliamp hour battery on both. The S21 charge is slower at 25 versus the 45 watts on the S22. They both have wireless and reverse wireless charging. So I wouldn't say the battery life is significantly better on, they feel about, you know, the same. So that is pretty much it. I'm very curious to see what you guys think. I know this is like very popular options for my guys overseas because they are cheaper, and I know, you know, you got to work within your budget, so I get it. So let me know what you guys think.